Good morning, Facebook friends and family. Thankful Thursdays again. So, wanted to thank Redemption Church. Last week they put on a conference called the 212 Conference, and they brought out some really amazing speakers. They brought out T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, and another gentleman, I can't remember his name right now, Stephen, I'm going to say his last name wrong, so I'm not going to even try and say it. And I have a friend, Miss Karen Hedges, shout out to you, thank you so much for giving me that ticket, who got me a ticket to see Joel Osteen. So the event was free, which I thought was amazing. And I got to see Joel Osteen on Friday, so you had to get a ticket because obviously there's only so many seats in the sanctuary. And so she got me a ticket to get into the main sanctuary. They have an overflow, they had an outside area. I mean, there was thousands of people there. And I was just really thankful to my friend Karen, because there were people that weren't able to get into the sanctuary, people who had to sit outside or sit in the overflow, but just like to sit in that room and to feel the excitement and the energy. It was awesome. But the message that he gave, I thought was really relevant, I think, to everybody. And he was talking about something that I was talking about last week, how last week I was having a tough week. He was talking about the pressures and stresses of life and things that happen to us. And he was talking about how we were all built differently, and how we sometimes look at other people, we compare ourselves to others. And he gave this example that he was running. He's a runner, and so he has this route that he usually runs. It's about 2 to 3 miles that he runs on a regular basis, and that he saw a gentleman not too far away, far enough that it would be, work for him to catch up to, that was running in front of him, but knew that he could, possibly catch up. So it was kind of a goal of his. So he started running a little faster, and eventually he passes the guy, and he's so excited. This is Joel Osteen, so excited that he passes this guy, and then he realizes that he passes this guy and he missed his destination. He missed his destination, meaning 3 blocks ago, that was his street to run down to go to his house. And so he says, stop focusing on other people's dreams and goals. Stop trying to catch up with people and seeing where other people are at. Just stay on your path, whatever that may be, because you lose sight of your goal. You'll lose sight of your vision. You'll lose sight of where you're supposed to be. And I thought that was so relevant, because I know that I do that, where I look at my life and go, where am I at right now? Where shouldn't I be farther? Shouldn't I be here? Shouldn't I have saved this much? Shouldn't I have this or that? And we start to compare ourselves to other people, and I just thought was very relevant. Another thing that he talked about that I thought was awesome was that he talked about how we're all made differently. We obviously know this, but he says we're made, there's only one of you, right? We've heard this before. There's only one of you. But what he said was, when you take an architect, for example, and he builds a house, he builds every house different depending on where he's building the house, right? So if it's in California, it's going to be built a little different because we have earthquakes in California. If you're building a home in, Oklahoma, he was saying, you're going to build it a little bit different there because they have, I think, tornadoes there. And he was talking about all the different areas, how the architect always takes into account where it is and what it needs to withstand. And that's exactly how he described God as seeing us, that he's our architect, and that he makes us exactly how he needs to make us to withstand the things that are going to happen in our lives, the pressures, the stresses, all the things that come into our lives. And he was talking about how he went to Utah, I think it was, and how they have heaters on top of the roof. And he was like, what are those wires up there? So they explained to him, it snows. And so the heaters melt the snow because the roof can't withstand, all that weight. And so he was talking about how God makes us, and he's our great, he's the great builder who's built us, and the things that happen to us, he allows the things to happen to us that he's given us, maybe not in our eyes or our hearts that we have the equipment to overcome or the resources to overcome, but he has made us so that we can withstand those things, and of course with his help. And so it was for me a message of hope, and I really enjoyed that and wanted to share with all of you what he was talking about. And by the way, he's a very eloquent speaker. The way you see him on TV, he speaks very much like that, and he just has this way with words, and you can tell he's just so sweet, so humble, and I really enjoyed watching him. A lot of people, there's some criticisms about him, but I think for what he was made for, which I think he was made for, having a gift of encouragement, hands down, he is definitely working in his gift and, being encouraging. And I think one of the things he talked about, he didn't say he was criticized. He just said a lot of people talk about the way that I preach, or the way that I speak, and he said, but my ultimate goal is to reach as many people as possible. So he's not looking just for people who believe in God. He's looking for people who are looking, to change their lives, to encourage them. And I think that's awesome. So everybody has a different way of communicating, and that's just his way, because he's using his gift. And I really enjoyed, listening to him. And there's a couple points, because by the time you see it on TV, they've edited, right? And so there was a couple times he stumbled on some words, and he giggled, and then he was about to say a scripture and he forgot the scripture, and it was funny watching him, not because I'm laughing at him, but just it made him real, because you see him on TV and you see this man talking so eloquently, so perfectly, not skipping a beat, not messing up any words. So it kind of gave me encouragement when I'm on this Facebook Live and I can't think of a word to describe something, or I use my ums or whatever it is. So it just gave me encouragement that, to speak eloquently, it's not, we're human, we're going to make mistakes. So I know, as well as he does speak, he gets edited. So anyways, everybody have a fantastic day. If anybody wants to hear from one of the speakers, I do have an interview between two of the speakers. Send me a private message. It is probably the most powerful interview I've ever watched in my life. I've sent it out to some friends, but if you want to listen to it, I promise you it'll knock your socks off. So anyways, see you next week. Love you.